All right, good afternoon, everyone. This is Sherman Crancer, Partner Channel Development Manager for Microsoft, and super excited to be here. It is 1:03 p.m. on Monday, 8/22/2016. So today, we're back to the old format again. I'm sure a lot of you are happy to see that and be on this call. So today we're going to be talking about how to use application innovation to increase sales and revenue. Now, to kind of give you a little bit of a precursor to this, we are going to be talking about really, how are we evolving, right? How are we evolving as a practitioner out there? And I don't know if anyone has read the article I put on LinkedIn several months ago about, IT is dead as we know it, right? And I think that I got a lot of really good comments, and I got a lot of, Sherman, you're swinging for the fences type of stuff. But I will tell you that, the reason for these types of calls really is, it's really about how we can provide you an idea, right? It's an idea of how do you evolve, how do you change, right? We know that I know that your practices are built on a specific foundation. However, I think it's really important that we understand how we can change and evolve. How can we become remarkable? How can we do something different that no other organization out there has done, and embrace something that's going to make some serious revenue and sales. Now, before I get into this, what I'm going to do is just kind of give you a small little story of an organization that really took to heart application innovation. I'm not going to talk about the specific company because I don't know if it's right, but this organization was a Partner of the Year candidate several times over, won several awards several times over, and actually built a lot of their business around Office 365. They were originally just a hourly project-based type of partner. However, they decided, when we kept talking about creating your own IP, creating your own thing, they decided, okay, well, we're going to actually try to do something. So they specialize in in the auto industry, right? And what they did is they took Power BI and they took CRM and they took SharePoint, and they created an application that basically used advanced stream analytics. So they used the Internet of Things. They used Power BI to, basically look at all the different, sales and, revenue streams. And they used it to create a platform where now every dealership across the U.S. has the ability to understand, where a vehicle is in its maintenance, threshold, right? It knows and can basically actually see probably 25 different points that would actually help the dealership actually make a lot more money, because they could call, they can call the actual customer and say, hey, I think you need to bring the car in, your brakes are about to fail, or you've gone 300,000 miles and you need to have X, Y, and Z. But they actually created on their own this application. They went out and hired one or two different developers, and actually kind of went through and put together this application. And this application is now being vetted with several international dealerships right now, and they're going to go from a company that had 10 people to probably a company that'd be worth growing to 100 people very quickly, just on this alone. And the time that was invested was really more around figuring out the business applications and what the auto industry segment needed, right? And then they're like, okay, well, let's hire a couple developers and let's go ahead and figure out what would be super awesome. So I think just to kind of look at that idea, is what they did is they took about a lot of the things that we had already talked about in this partner profitability call, but they took an application and figured, okay, how do we innovate and how do we change? We want to get away from project services, so they got into Office 365. They said, well, Office 365 is good, however, the margins are low. How do we create something different? And they created this product that I saw the other day, and it's just, I mean, it's lights out. It's breathtaking, to put it. So hopefully these calls, we can use this as a way to, really kind of change your mind on how to, do things a little bit differently, and understand this, change is hard, and sales is hard, innovating is hard. However, the one thing that you can control is the time that you put into both sales, marketing, and innovation, and that's really on you. And the next thing I'll go into before we get into the agenda is, what are some of the key drivers to success, right? And I think that some of the key drivers to success, in my opinion, is to never say no, right? And to never say I can't, and just to say, I can do it. Another thing is projection. Projecting success is really, really important. Projecting yourself, being an optimist, the glass is half empty, but waking up every day with a purpose to become great, a purpose to become remarkable, a purpose to be somebody different, than maybe you have been in the past several years. Okay, those are some of the traits of a very successful person. And I think everybody on this call has a special ability to do that, because you're taking time out of your day to kind of figure out, how do I increase my sales and revenue by possibly adding a few different things to my bag. All right, so let's get into it. That was my my entree into this call. All right, so the agenda. Partner profitability, super important. We're going to go through customer, partner, market opportunity. Then we're going to go into some really cool things about how to actually make money, with some of these things. So we'll do enabling application. We'll talk about partner opportunity, and then we'll go into sales tactics. I have an error on here. Advanced analytics is not going to be on this one. So, all right, check in, please. Okay, so if you guys could just go ahead and click on this link. I need to check in. I'm measured on some of the things. Please just go ahead and click there. First name, last name, email, and what you think, or whatever you need help with. I'd be really, really, I'd be really thankful if you go ahead and do that. Now, Yijian, can you go ahead and just type that into the text window, just in case somebody doesn't see this? Or can anyone type that into the window? I'd really appreciate it, into the text window. It's a little small for me. Thank you very much. All right, so that's a check-in thing. It's really important for me, so I really appreciate it. All right, second thing, partner project. Okay, last week we talked about partnering for success, right? And actually reaching out, picking 3 partners, scheduling a 15-minute call with each, confer on opportunities, schedule an event together, and report some results. So what I decided to do is I wanted to actually ask a few people today what or if they've done it. So what I'll do actually is I'll give the opportunity for somebody to speak up if they made the calls to anyone or they did any partnering. So let me go ahead and participants. I'm going to just start calling you guys if I can't. Okay, here we go. All right, Dave, Seibert.
I am unmuted now.
All right.
Hey, how are you, Sherman?
Good. Did you make any partnering calls this last week, and what was the success from it?
So the first answer is yes, I did, but not off of our list.
Okay.
So, well, I already had a bit of a I shouldn't call it a backlog. That sounds bad, but I already had a list of people that I owed lunches with that I reached out to, and the success of it is the fact of 2 things. Number one is learning what the other person does, because just by title alone or company name alone, you don't really understand what they do, and therefore when you meet like over lunch one-on-one, you really get to find out, and therefore you see where the opportunities are. And the last one is, if you don't see where the opportunities are, meaning you don't have an active project, you know what to keep your eyes open for because you know now what they do, and when you're talking with a client, you can kind of fill in the holes, whereas before you had that luncheon, you really couldn't do that.
Yeah, very, very important. Thank you, Dave. Really appreciate it. I'm going to go to the other Dave, Dave Gersten or Eric Klaus. You guys make any partner calls today, this last week, and any results to share?
Hey, sure. I actually talked to 2 partners that came off of the call last week,
Okay.
and haven't had anything progress yet from those, but definitely had 2 folks that I connected with.
Okay. Thank you, Dave Gersten. All right. Anybody else want to speak up? All right. So let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and post a poll here. What's really important about this whole kind of this partnering for success and part of MCC is really, guys. There's so many people. We have 58 people on the call today. On the left-hand side, go ahead and click on the person's name. You'll find their contact information. Go ahead and actually get on this. Go ahead and call them up, and we're going to start calling on people because it's part of MCC. It's part of the important part of making connections. I did a lot of partnering when I was in role as a partner because I didn't have the technical expertise. So why don't we go ahead and vote on this? Whoever's paying attention, let's go ahead and put these up here. So some of the results, the question really is, they were great and I expanded my network. I didn't make great connections. I didn't do them as I thought you weren't serious, but I'm dead serious. So in the future, let's really kind of work on this. Go ahead and pick 3 people, and let's go ahead and talk about it tomorrow or next week, and kind of figure out where we were with those. All right. Now, if you are on you can go ahead and put your actual information in the text box. I'm happy to keep that forward for anybody. We do publish these calls, so you might as well go ahead and start putting in your name, your email, your phone number, so that people can actually reach out to you and what you're doing. All right. So let's go ahead and get back to the presentation. Okay. Now showing, close. All right. All right, let's pull this sucker over here. Okay. So, all right. So super important. Dean, let me ask you a question. Yeah, I didn't see you jump on. Thanks for jumping on. If you could unmute. So tell me a little bit about your partnering experience and how you work with other partners. I think his mic may be muted. We'll move on. Dean, jump in when you can, okay? Appreciate it. Oh, here you are. Yeah, Dean. So tell us about your partnering and how that helps your business succeed.
Well, we partnered on a deal. We didn't get the deal, but that's okay. You don't win them all. But we had a situation where we had some Azure skills, and the other partner had some great MSP skills. We're not a good MSP fit for a lot of people, and so we partnered on a proposal, and it went pretty well. We just lost at the end of the day.
Okay. But that's an opportunity that you probably weren't in, or they weren't in, right?
No, I wasn't in. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
okay.
It was great, and we look forward to working with them again.
Good. Thank you very much. Remember, partnering is part of MCC. MCC is about registering events and speaking in front of a large group of people. That's Microsoft Community Connections. And the next part is partnering, getting people to come with you, helping them out. Give them a lead on something that you don't do, and conversely, they're going to be thinking of you psychologically for the next deal. So, all right. So let's get into this. Enabling application innovation. I always put this slide up because this is what we're going to be talking about. we're getting right into, what are the customer needs? What are they thinking about, right? What is the psychology, the triggers, the market opportunity, which is, what is it, what type of opportunity for the partner, right? Market-wise. And then lastly, the partner opportunity and how they actually make money. So we'll cover the first three boxes here. The first thing is understanding the customer, and that's, I think we start here for any type of profitability call. The most important thing is understanding how are they thinking, what are some of the psychological triggers that they may be having or they may be thinking when you're sitting in front of them. Understanding the partner or the customer through delicate questions and through proper open-ended questions to get what they're thinking out of them is really, really important. And so for the customer needs, if the customer is sitting across the way from you, they're really thinking about, okay, how do I deliver the best, the right applications faster and with a lot more quality and accountability. We have a huge amount of third-party applications that basically confuse the customer and the client, right? And I think looking at one application that we can actually put one together and be able to scale it out would help the customer. So that's one of their needs is like, gosh, we have so many of these things together. How do we actually put this all together and kind of do one approach? I think the other thing is that they want to be able to drive productivity and agility. And I think from your standpoint, thinking about that, the customer is like, gosh, we have so many different programs, we have so many different types of Office SKUs, we have so many different, you have Dropbox, you have your different CRMs, different storage, all different types of programs. And there's just been they're probably confused as to what they can actually use, and they're really interested in figuring out something that they can actually see and use that would affect their productivity and agility. Next, they're looking for a way to connect all the legacy things. So if you think about the legacy network, you're thinking about, okay, well, is it legacy as far as hardware goes? I wouldn't say that necessarily, but it could be. But it's the legacy software systems, right? So if they're working on, if you're in manufacturing and they're, still working on an MS-DOS application, how do you, as a partner, potentially create something that can integrate those data streams into it, right? So they're trying to figure out, okay, how do I do that? That's what a customer's thinking. Like, my goodness, we got to go from A to B to C to G. I can't figure out, how to do it all. But gosh, I sure would like to have a partner who understood, how to do that. And then, they basically want a way that as the bullet point stands, is infused data. All those streams of data, putting it into something that's actually usable. And we've talked about the Power BI model, we've talked about the Internet of Things model, but we really haven't, talked about, okay, well, how does that work within the customer's viewpoint, because they're sitting there, they're like, my gosh, we're getting Excel report after Excel report after report after report after report. Do they know, what part of those reports are actually, working or worth actually getting that information from? So I think the customer is really thinking about, okay, how do I get all this data and put it together? So they want the right applications, they want integrated development, they want to make sure they can get their legacy systems in, and their customer needs is to figure out how to take all that data that they have or that's sitting there and actually use it to their benefit. So I think that's a really good way of looking at the customer needs. All right, so now let's look at the market opportunity for developing apps. So that's what we're basically talking about, is developing apps today. Developing apps that can actually work. And there's a lot of apps that we have already. We have a lot of the cloud apps. We have the Office 365 suite. You have Dynamics 365 is coming out, right? But you have SharePoint. You have CRM. Oh, excuse me, I just talked about that. SharePoint. You have Azure with Internet of Things, Advanced Analytics, Stream Analytics, all these different things. So we already have a lot of apps, but maybe how do you create an app that puts all those apps together, right? So the market opportunity says 80% of partners responded that they are more profitable by delivering applications in a public hybrid cloud versus on-premise scenario. So, what does that mean? So the reason we're on the call today is we're talking about partner profitability, right? And we're talking about, using the Microsoft stack to increase your sales and revenue. So we already said, okay, Office 365, great, hybrid. Okay, now you're not just on-prem, but also think about this, Azure. It is the gift that keeps on giving. We see a 27% year over year growth for any company that gets on it, right? Compound annual growth rate, 27% for Azure. And the reason why is because, you just start at, infrastructure as a service, like we went over the very first call. You just start there. However, now it's okay, well, we want to put Active Directory, we want to put Internet of Things, we want to put advanced analytics, you want to put Power BI, I want to grab everything and put it together. So, it's 80% of the partners are saying they're more profitable because they're embracing this idea of a hybrid cloud solution type of scenario. And then they say the number is 127 billion, and that's really what the IT's worldwide public cloud services spend will be by 2018, and that's a 22.8 CAGR, compound annual growth rate spend. So the market opportunity is absolutely enormous. You just have to figure out, what are you going to do? How are you going to do it? And that's why I started off this particular call with, hey, it's time to be remarkable. It's time to figure out how you can, change something or do something a little bit different and get away from the bits and the bytes. I keep saying that, this whole project revenue, this whole, hourly billed revenue stream is just, you got to get away from that. You got to find something that's going to be recurring revenue, subscription based, month over month, profitable, and that's why understanding the market opportunity and customer needs is important. All right, so now let's look into the partner opportunity. Okay, so what are you guys going to do, right? What do we see as something that the partner can do? Because it's easy for me to tell you, hey, you can make a lot of money doing this, and this is how you want to do it. However, you're thinking, what am I going to do, right? So we feel that delivering end-to-end solutions on a comprehensive platform, and that's really what that really means is Office, CRM, Power BI, and Azure. You're doing the big stack, right? And then you're taking that and you're putting in your managed services. You're putting in some of the other items that you do, okay, on a monthly, daily basis, and now you've increased revenue significantly. Right? Okay, so you want to deliver end-to-end solutions. So we can use Office, CRM, Power BI. Cross-sell, upsell by delivering end-to-end solutions with comprehensive portfolio of mobile media. And what that means is like, okay, do I want to sell Intune? Do I want to put in EMS on top of that? But you also have your own applications that you probably have run. Making sure that you take that, the understanding of what we currently already have and putting it all together, right, with maybe some of your own stuff is what really increases the overall margins for your business. Right? And it's all about recurring business, recurring revenue, how do I build that recurring revenue, but not recurring revenue just on licensing, because we don't want that, right? We want recurring revenue on something bigger, right? So we cross-sell, we bring in other different cloud and hybrid solutions into it. Next is realizing simple application development, and that's just App Studio. I don't know here if anybody has used it yet, and I would really appreciate it if somebody could just go ahead and ping it on the text message if anybody has used App Studio yet. Let's see. I'm waiting for somebody to text something. No? Okay. Dead air. Look, so I'll tell you a small story. I was thinking about putting together an app for Project Lead Gen, right? And I decided that I brought it up to HQ. And everyone told me, well, Sherman, we need to have a meeting about a meeting and about a meeting and about a meeting. We have to have another meeting on that meeting. And then we have to put together our ideas, and we're going to need budget, and we're going to have to, contract companies, and we're going to have to review proposals. And, your app idea may only take, about a year and a half to do. So I don't know anything about programming. Well, a little bit, but not very much. I mean, literally I could do the Hello Windows, right? And I did that 6 months ago, and it was terrible. I hated it. But I decided, hey, I want to learn App Studio because I'm going to create an app, a Project Lead Gen app, right? Boom. Figured it out in one weekend, and I created the app, and I'm going to actually send it to everybody here in about a week. I got to publish it. But I used App Studio. App Studio is unbelievable. It uses the Windows Universal Platform, right? And the thing is, it actually helps you to be able to develop an app that you can actually publish to iOS and to Android, right? Unbelievable, right? But Windows App Studio is unbelievable, and if you haven't checked it out, I have a link later on in this presentation to do that. But you can start creating stuff that comes together, right? And that was my biggest thing, is that I think 20 years ago, if you didn't have a website, what did people say? They said, "Oh my gosh, you don't have a website, right? This is ridiculous." However, and you created a website for them, right? Well, right now, and I tell you this as a partner, if you don't have an app for yourself, oh my gosh, I should be like, what's going on? You should be creating your own app within App Studio. It may take you a couple hours to do the learning piece of it, and then maybe after you learn, you can literally spin the sucker up in about, I don't know, 30 minutes. That's how long it took me. It was super simple. A couple hair pulling type of scenarios. So that's really App Studio. The next one is Profit with, oops, I went forward. Hold on one second. Next one is Profit with differentiated offerings, right? And this is where the partner opportunity within, Azure services, IoT. Okay, you got to think. We talked about IoT the last couple of weeks. You got to think about that. Machine learning. How are you gonna put this all together, and then drive longer engagements and recurring business through that? We just kind of covered that. All right, so let me go ahead and check something out here. Let's see. Yi-Jen says, okay, Shane. Cool. Oh, I was just checking to see if somebody had a comment about my doing the App Studio version. Eugene, I'm going to ask you to chime in if somebody asks a question, because I can't see that. All right, so let's go into the second poll here. What I'd like to do is kind of see where everyone is at with what I'm talking about. And let me go ahead and push present. Okay, I'd really appreciate it if you guys could just go ahead and click on this to help me understand, where the partners are on this call with what I'm talking about. All right, 1 second. I'm going to try to. Okay, so cool. Yes, I can see how this could be effective. No, not really. I'm still a bit cloudy. Could you please review? This is pure genius. I wasn't paying attention. I will now, though. Awesome. Okay, so this is good. People are voting now. People are paying attention. You got to pay attention to this stuff, because if you don't pay attention, how are you going to make more money? And that's what I'm trying to do. Trying to help us all make a lot more money. All right, so let me go ahead and bring this back over here. I got to expand my window. Really important, guys. And plus, help me understand. When you need to ask a question about this. We'll do Q&A at the end, but I think it helps me gauge whether I'm doing a good job, explaining this type of stuff. All right, so it's going to come up here. Now, did everybody put up their information on the text window who've joined recently? So I want to make sure that there's an opportunity for everybody to partner with each other, and you need to identify 3 people to partner with, before next week's call. All right, so let's move on. Now we're going to go into the bottom 4 parts of enterprise web and mobile apps, DevOps with an ALM practice, media solutions, mobile customer engagement management. All this stuff is, super big, right? Super big talk. Okay, and it's kind of hard to decipher, and that's what I'm here to help you with. All right, so for this one, you can actually click on any one of these links. If you want to learn more about App Studio, and that's really what it comes to, and that's where this slide is really talking about, is App Studio. What I did is I put a hyperlink into the light bulb piece. So click on the light bulb, and that's going to take you to Channel 9. And this is where I learned how to do App Studio. I actually went to Channel 9, which is for developers, and I typed in Windows App Studio. I had to search for a while, but what I did is I gave you a link to number 1. And it's about 45 or 50 minutes long, but it's awesome because you can actually do it while they're talking. And then go into number 2, right, which is another hour-long thing in Channel 9 on Windows App Studio. And then you'd be like, oh my gosh, blow your mind away. Just totally blown your mind away, like, oh my gosh, I can do this. And I can probably charge a ton of money to do this. So I did that. And then on the left-hand side, both enterprise web and mobile apps, and the whole paragraph is actually one link to Windows App Studio to go ahead and click and to check it out. Okay, cool. All right. So basically, what this one of the opportunities that we need to talk about is enterprise web and mobile apps. Inside App Studio. My brother, for example, has an IT company, and he's like, I said, well, do you have an app? He's like, no, I don't. I go, what's your problem? You don't have an app? What are you doing? You trying to be a dinosaur? And he goes, no, it's going to cost $15,000 to get one done. I said, hold on a second. I'll go ahead and click. I'll go ahead and stay in the Stone Ages. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. But I was able to actually go into App Studio, and there's one that says create your own app, and it says Windows web app, right? And I literally took his website and created the web app in just a few minutes. All right, Jen, what's going on? What link is? Can you chime in?
The light bulb link doesn't work when you said to press on it for channel 9.
Okay, let me grab. Does anybody else have the same problem?
Yeah, everybody else has the same problem.
Everybody has the same problem. Okay. I actually have it in Office Mix. Hold on a second. I'll put a link to grab this PowerPoint in Office Mix, and you can take it. Let's see. Click on the monitor looking icon. Oh, yeah. Hey, yeah, thank you. Everyone, click on the monitor looking icon here and download the presentation, and you'll actually have both of the links that will be working. Wow, super smart. Thanks so much. Appreciate that. All right. So, web apps. Okay, create and modernize with, corporate websites, extend apps, mobile capabilities, cross-platform applications. The app that I have has Facebook, Twitter in it. It's got Project Lead Gen videos from YouTube. It's got my WordPress, blog site on there for everyone to just look at. You can try to do all that. Next is thinking about putting Power BI into it, right? And another thing I already talked about the Facebook and social integration. So that I think as a technologist in the industry, you should be doing this. You should be like, oh my gosh, I got to figure this all out because it's just an added value you can bring to the table for your clients. All right, so the next opportunity for partners is really like DevOps with application lifecycle management practice developing. So you can develop a new practice, and it really could be around okay, well maybe I'll learn App Studio, and then I'll create a practice around making sure you can develop and test these things. As maybe just an arm of your business, right? But figuring out a way to deploy it, extremely fast and productive and agile, and then providing services to centrally manage all the different applications within their company, right? If you can get a grasp on how to, or if you can get a grasp on how to go into an organization and say, what applications are you using? And they say, well, I'm using X, Y, and Z, and then, perfect. And you say, great. Well, how do you aggregate all that information? Well, I don't know. Well, we don't. We just go to X, Y, and Z to all these different. But if you, as a partner, can actually create an app or create something that you can actually hold everything together, right, and get that information, holy smokes, you're so different than that project guy who's coming in and saying, yeah, I want to go ahead and get. I really want to go ahead and bid on your rip and replace services. I mean, you just get, you're done with that. So, all right, so that's the life cycle management, practice piece of it. Next is really media solutions, and I don't know if you follow a lot of the videos that I'm doing and whatnot, but really build, manage, and deploying the media apps, I think, is another partner profitability motion, and it's very simple. It's very simple to do. The YouTube channel that I have has over 70 or 80 different videos on there that are readily accessible. And if you figure out how to create these APIs, and that's basically being able to tie them all together, right? You create that. Oh my gosh! Now you create something special and awesome for somebody. You can charge a lot of money for that. So just understanding how to create that. We have in LA, in Southern California, a ton of media companies that have a ton of storage needs, right? Ton of Azure needs, a ton of ways to classify and put everything together. And we have opportunities now because AWS, they've been using them for a long time, but you can provide so much more. Advanced analytics, business intelligence, Cortana intelligence coming up. AWS can't do any of that, right? AWS is just, it's a hybrid infrastructure as a service solution. You figure it out after that. So just think about that on the media solutions part. Lastly is the mobile customer engagement. And that's really how, understanding how to grab that information. So as a partner, if you think about this, okay, how does this apply to me? As a partner, you can basically go into a company and say, I have an understanding, or I have an ability to understand, how your mobile users are actually utilizing data, and I can show you how to drive insights from it. I can bring the Power BI model up, right, and actually show you how to increase your sales and revenue to the customer, right? And as a partner, holy smokes, right? Now you're once again separating yourself significantly from the person who wants to come in and charge an hourly fee or a monthly fee to rip and replace and manage their systems. All right, so let's go ahead and move into poll number 3. I think we have this here. 1 second. Poll number 3. Okay. So I wish if you guys could go ahead and answer this. The question is, do you have a clear understanding of what a partner can do to build a better and more profitable practice? So that's the second part of it. We did the first part. It's like, oh, what is it? And second part is building a profitable practice. Let me go ahead and so close that. Okay. We'll let some people vote right now. All right. We've got a lot more people voting. Perfect. Keep it up. Keep the voting up. Okay, so we have 3 there. Maybe I love it, but I don't think I'm ready to take this on. Totally understand. No, it's not my specialty. Totally understand. Okay, get it. Love it. I think the idea here, and what's good about this is that this is helping, I think, partners understand, what could be out there, right? What we could do as an organization, right? As Microsoft and as a partner, what you could do in the future. And if I could just plant a seed, just a couple seeds in your mind to think, okay, what do I do to change and evolve? Wow. Now that's powerful, right? And then maybe down the line you're like, oh, I can do this because now I understand what that meant. These partner profitability slides are awesome, right? But you have to figure out how to decipher some of the stuff because it's kind of tough to see. All right, moving into the one thing that I like to talk about a lot is project-based services, managed services, and IP services. So we need to understand the market opportunity first. And that's basically 1 out of every $5 is being spent on packaged software, and 1 out of every $4 budgeted are spent on applications via the cloud. Okay, so that's by 2018. That is the IT spend. That is what's happening, right? It is exploding. Things are happening fast. You got to figure out how do you do this, right? How do you get in front of the curve? You're going to be left behind if you don't figure something out, right? And that's okay. If this isn't your bag, hang on to more calls. We'll get into other stuff. It's fantastic, right? So there's also 40% gross margin by using Microsoft Azure Platform as a Service for app development services. So think about that, platform as a service. So where are all these organizations that have these shopping carts? Where are they? Who are they hosting with? Well, probably AWS, right, for a while. Well, now you might be able to say, to those organizations, hey, where are you hosting your shopping cart? Great. Well, let's think about Azure, because while you're fine with maybe AWS, but within the Azure environment, not only are we going to be able to host your shopping cart, your whole business in Azure, but now we're going to give you real insights now. Now we're going to give you Power BI. We're going to be able to help you with predicted stream analytics. We're going to tell you when you should increase the price of sales or decrease the price of sales, decrease your inventory. We're going to tell you all that, right? So that's the opportunity, and that's why there's a 40% gross margin on it. You're not just managing a piece of equipment that's just sitting there, right? And plus it's not exciting, right? So the project services, you have to understand with this is, okay, so what can you make just like on a project, right? Just you're going to bid them out. You don't know a lot about it. Maybe you're bringing in some quarterback, and we see a 35% margin, but it's always around solution analysis, scope, and design. That's where your project's going to be. It's basically creating a proof of concept. Consulting, on something and understanding this type of environment. Maybe that's all you want to do. Maybe you just want to be a consultant in doing this, but you have to have a ton of leads to keep this going. And then, but maybe you want to partner with somebody that's on this call. Somebody on this call that can, basically help with, the second piece of it. So the insights to maximize the profitability are also really important. And it's focusing, targeting on industries, target. And that's why MCC and PLG, Project Lead Gen, is so important, because it's really about vertical market targeting, moving up one market, target-rich environment, finding one industry, one organization that has, 500 companies that you are targeting. So you want to focus on industries that have a high mobile workforce. Okay, that helps. And they need consolidation. Key is connectivity, and then security after that, and then integrate the appropriate third-party apps into your idea. So that's insights to maximize profitability. We'll keep talking about that as we go through this. All right, so the next part is where we increase our margin, and it's looking at managed services, right? So we see typically it's at a 45% margin on those, and basically what are you doing? Well, we've talked. It's very similar to the last several weeks on this. You're providing the project services, right? The consulting and the piece you got. Now you're doing the manage. Now you're adding a couple other things too, and that's really around reactive help desk support, right? And that's some of the stuff that, great, we have a monthly fee, but now I have a monthly problem, right? Application lifestyle management, that's where managed services comes in, building a practice around lifestyle application. AML, that's okay, AML, and then plugging in your monthly revenue streams and targets. But using an app, creating something that that they can actually put together, or just combining all of the Microsoft programs, right? When you combine Office 365 and CRM and SharePoint, combining them together, okay, application lifestyle management, as well as now you're moving into the second piece, which I think is great, and it's really about packaged IP. Okay, and that's packaging everything. So you could package, Office 365 with EMS, right? Office 365 EMS and Azure IoT. Office 365 EMS, Azure IoT, and your managed services, or your own security scan, or your own, I will show up to your office, once a week promise. Packaging, and then selling subscriptions is where the money is at. 65% profit margins. You got to do this. Look for industry-specific type of mobile app that you can create. Like I mentioned to you about the auto industry, unbelievable app, right? Specialized, but oh my gosh, it is. To my mind, it looks like $1 billion idea. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but really something else. So think about that. Look for industry-specific workflows. Become a business process, person. Understand, the business of a business, right? You're maybe great in technology, but how much do you know about, being able to read a financial statement? You got to learn these things. You got to learn these things to separate yourself, from the rest of the participants. Okay. All right. Advanced analytics and big data. This is just pretty simple. Capitalizing on this market opportunity, and that's where you're taking large streams of data, right? Large things that are coming through from all these applications that you're putting together, right? And once again, I think the project services are going to be almost exactly the same as our last slide. And the thing is, what you start out with, though, insights to maximizing profitability, is trying to figure out what type of business value getting all of that big data down actually brings, right? That's what's important. Next, you want to combine the third-party apps, and asking, and this is really the Power BI piece of it. Yijen, let me take a break here. I saw a question, but I can't read it because my eyes are actually small, and what does the question say? Or is it a comment?
I think that's just, it says oops, so I don't know if that's an actual question or not.
Okay.
I think it's a comment.
Yes, we are offering the license cost and the first month free ops. We need hands-on training, Sherman. All right, you need hands-on training. Channel 9, boom, done, got it. Gave it to you. All right. All right. No, I can help out. I'm thinking about putting together a roadshow, actually, where I come out to each of the major cities, and I'll need your thoughts on that. I'll do a survey next week. All right. Now, the managed services, here you kind of, very much the same thing. It's really the proactive backups, the managed services, but it's also, maintaining the data that's coming in. Okay, that's what it is. You're maintaining the big data that you basically, these huge Excel spreadsheets, these huge files, you're bringing that in, you're maintaining it, you're telling them I'll maintain your application, but that's it. I'm not going to help you out with anything. We see a 45% profit margin. We've talked about this over and over again, but really, once again, the mantra is the money is in creating your own IP. Very simple. It's right there, and you're free to take a look at this PowerPoint deck when you download it. All right, so let's go ahead into our poll number 4, and let's go to manage content. All right, 1 second. Poll number 4, and it will basically be do you see the value of these calls as a way to think about how to evolve and win? Second. All right. Okay, a little off-camera break here. And it doesn't hurt when you say no. I like it. I love the honesty with the partnering. All right. Cool. All right. Well, let's, okay, everyone done? Okay, cool. All right. So let's go back to managing the content. Well, we are 9 minutes left, and I'm just about done. Sweet. Okay. All right. So moving forward. Okay. Oh, that was the last slide, but moving forward, look, MCC, let's talk about that a little bit, and Project Lead Gen. I know that we're talking a lot about, partner profitability stuff and how to make more money and how to change and how to network and all that stuff, but really my program is Microsoft Community Connections, and it's near and dear to my heart, and I think that we may be taking our eye off the ball a little bit by trying to learn all this stuff. And I would like to challenge, the group here to say, hey, let's get back focused on scheduling events, scheduling calls. If you're having trouble, with the getting meetings and whatnot, you have to let me know and you have to let us know. But the first step is what I want you to do, if you haven't done it yet, is go to Project Lead Gen, right, in the bottom right here, it's the AKA Ready to Go PLG. Download all the materials and watch how to do it, because the very first one gives you the actual letter to send out to everyone. It's really important that we do it very carefully and very succinctly. Okay? It works. And what I'd like to see is a lot more emails coming across my desk that show, and CC myself, don't just send them by yourself, CC me and Yi-Jen so we can reply to them and get you started. The only way you're going to be successful in this is if you get 6 to 7 associations on your side, okay? And if you're doing 6 to 7 meetings a month. Every meeting that you do, seminar or webinar, needs to have between 10 and 20 people. That's a lot of new leads. That's how you become remarkable. That's how you become different. You win at this. That's just plain and simple. Okay? It doesn't cost you anything. It just takes some hard work. So I think we're getting our eyes a little bit off the ball. Let's get back into it. I'd really appreciate it because I can help you out. I want to help you out. I want to provide software. I want to provide, financial help for some of these opportunities. But we need your involvement. Need you to get into it. All right, that's my thing. My sales tactic for the week really was covered in the very beginning about being remarkable, about trying to change who you are, as well as partnering. Partnering super important. On this. And lastly, if you want to fill out the Project Lead Gen Planner, go ahead, help us help you. All right, very simple. It's not like it's not a test or anything, so we really appreciate it. All right, so I'm going to turn off the camera here, and I'm going to just kind of leave it open for questions and answers or thoughts. And then we will end the call at around 2. So, would anybody like to ask any questions about the presentation today, or any thoughts about MCC, or do we have any help or any ideas that are needing addressing?
Hey, Sherman, what is the registration process now if we're trying to register multiple events?
Oh, so if you have multiple events and you have like 10 or more events, what I'd like you to do is you have to make it very detailed. Date, time, how many people are going to be there, the address of the organization, the phone number, email. I mean, as detailed as you possibly can, and send it over to me, and we'll get those all registered for you. I will either, if Yi-Jen has time, she can help with that, or I'll be sending it to another resource within MCC.
Fantastic. I know that's a question I've gotten several times from the partners, so I wanted to get that out there.
Perfect. Yeah. We want a lot of events. Tell us. Tell Yi-Jen, tell myself. We need as many events as possible. And register all of your events. If you're going to big networking things, register the event. It's very simple. It's www.ms.
And if they're working with partners, both partners can register the event. That's something that I think a lot of partners forget as well. But if you've got 2 partners or 3 partners who are working together, each one of those partners can register the event.
Absolutely, that is a great thing. So, yeah, thank you, Eric. Appreciate that.
Always happy to help.
All right. Do we have any other questions? Thoughts? Content? All right. Very good. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Please download the content on this meeting if you want to go to the present factor. I'm going to go ahead and end the recording on this and leave it open just in case you need to download the content of the meeting. But anyways, thanks everyone for joining today. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you next week. Will be another really cool call. All right, thanks again. Have a great day.